What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Bourbon and Bullshit podcast with some good friends, great drinks, and a little bit of BS. So grab a seat, pour up something neat, and welcome to the show. What's going on, everyone? Welcome into an episode of Bourbon and Bullshit, part of our Support Local series. Today's is going to be a lot of fun because we are in beautiful Winter Park at / Central Florida's first craft distillery and blending house with Tim and Michael from / What's going on, guys? How are you today, Tim?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Happy to have you on. And Michael, how's everything going with you?
Can't complain.
You complain all the time. I don't. The second I saw you
right
this
now
morning,
I can't
the
complain.
second I saw you this morning, you were like, "Oh my god, it's so hot."
I mean, in fairness,
It
it is
hot.
It is.
It is.
I was just making a statement.
It's a complaining statement.
Statement of fact.
Fact.
It is
based,
hot.
It's a fact-based complaint. It is brutal.
It is.
Oh, are you complaining now?
So I think we should just talk about the weather for the next 22 minutes, really, because I mean, we could fold that into whiskey and the influence of all of that. We could talk about climate change.
Definitely.
We could talk about anything. I feel like I'm on NPR
Sorry, I fell
right
asleep.
now. Yeah, I feel like I'm on NPR because I'm using an NPR voice right
You
now.
just have to talk really slow and low.
just talk really.
Time to turn your radio voice on.
Dude, I do. I do like NPR. I will. Yeah.
Do you have a radio voice specifically like that?
No. Well, I grew up like idolizing Jim Carrey, right? Like Jim Carrey popped off when I was like 9 years old, 10 years old, and so like I was just always doing impressions as a kid. I was always making animal noises and doing that. So I could do a radio voice of you, and it depends. Are we doing rock station?
Good.
We're doing like you're listening to the Bone 98.4. Is there a 98.4? I don't think it's like usually 98.1 or something like that.
I don't know. Someone once told me I had a voice for radio.
You do have a voice for it.
I really thought it was an insult at the time.
No,
but
no.
I was living in Atlanta and everyone had a really southern accent, and mine's kind of neutral.
Right. Because you're like from all over. So,
Yeah.
But no, a face for radio, that's the insult. That's
Yeah.
the insult. The voice for radio is good.
Yeah, if someone says I have a
true.
face for radio, that's 100% someone shitting on me.
100%.
You don't want that.
Yeah.
I really don't like when people shit on me.
I'm not there in my sexual journey yet where I'm into that part of,
And this is where the podcast went off the rails.
No, this could all
There's
be bonus
some
content.
movie with Jason Statham where that's his bag. I can't remember the name of it, but that is his bag, or he likes to pay ladies to go 1 and 2 on him through like a glass box. It's
Jason
Statham film. I'll look it up after.
What? I've never heard of that movie.
I don't want to see
It
that.
was shocking for me. I can't remember what the premise of it was. I just remember being like, "Oh my god, that's a thing."
You sure you didn't dream that up?
And that was the end. And then
That seems excessive for
it
Jason
is.
Statham.
Well, he's a weird guy. I think he was into it. It might have been his own personal,
Were you watching home
autobiography.
movies?
Is it like an OnlyFans that you clicked on?
This is pre-OnlyFans. OnlyFans, you gotta, OnlyFans is new, right?
Yeah,
OF
pandemic.
is what, like 4 years, 5 years old?
Yeah, 2020. Yeah, about the time people started trying to make money from
Well, I
home.
think it's funny because on OnlyFans, they're like, I think they came out years ago. This is pre-pandemic, and they're like we're not doing adult content anymore. It's just
Yeah, that was like, I think that was right after the pandemic. And then they were like, oh, that's literally our entire business
yeah.
model.
We'll lose billions.
They try to
no.
They try to rebrand and make commercials saying, "Hey, if you want to learn how to cook and blah blah blah," for
Right.
people.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants that, dude.
People
That's
are like,
YouTube.
that's not what we came
You're
for.
trying to be YouTube.
Yeah,
Just accept what you are.
I learned it from TikTok.
Dan, just accept what you are and monetize it if you can.
yeah.
That's it.
Lean into it. Just fucking be who you are. But TikTok, I've learned way too much stuff from TikTok I did not know in real life.
Exactly.
Like,
Do you remember any of it?
yeah, like
Okay.
like certain things, like how to clean certain appliances or something random that I never thought about doing. I was like, oh shit.
Did you actually like do the research to make sure like you weren't about to ruin whatever it is they just told you to clean?
1,000,000%. I was just like, I'm not just gonna fucking believe the internet.
Put a bunch of spatulas in your microwave to get it really clean, like that. This is a hack.
Especially right now with the amount of like AI content that's I'm scrolling through Facebook and it's like, oh, this is the official trailer. I'm like, that's not a movie.
Yeah,
Right.
That's
Yes.
fake.
They're, like you'll see some people have been falling for those stupid trends on TikTok too. Like, oh, if you
All
really
the
want
time.
your cell phone to charge really fast, throw it in a microwave for 5 seconds. And people are like, I can't believe you made me do this. Why would you put your
No,
microphone?
actually, I am so fully in support of this because it'll get rid of dumb people.
Darwinism, just survival of the fittest.
Darwinism, full effect.
That's awful.
I unfortunately I don't think we can't get away from that. We have overtipped the tipping point now, and we are full blown like prequel film movie series to Idiocracy. Like we're the prequel right now. That's
Yeah.
where we're at. We're in the beginning 5 minutes of the movie Idiocracy, and
I wouldn't be shocked if they come
Rondo.
out with like a prequel to that movie. Like what? How did we get from where they were cryogenically frozen to when they woke up?
yeah. Well, it's now
Like, what
We're
happened?
now this happened.
Right, but make
what
that
we're
movie.
doing now.
I want to see that movie.
Nobody's making babies. Everybody's putting Brondo on their vegetables. You know, it's
What is it? Like it's what plants crave. Like people are basically
Brondo. It's they crave electrolytes. It's what plants crave. Yeah.
Do you know I actually learned a fun fact about that movie? You may know this about Idiocracy. Did you know? I guess when they were looking for futuristic footwear for everybody to wear. You know this?
Mm-hmm.
You know this, Tim? Okay, so they were looking for this futuristic footwear that was somewhat believable, but they never thought anybody would ever wear them.
Is it Crocs?
Crocs.
Is it?
That's a real story.
It's
from
a
the
real
production team.
fact. So, like the last time we were playing it here, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
they're all wearing Crocs.
Dude, my kids only wear Crocs. My 4-year-old and my 2-year-old only wear Crocs. That's it. Well, because
Really?
it's so easy, dude. And if they
slide
get
on.
wet, it protects it. Their feet aren't exposed. If something falls on their feet, they're protected.
Anti-slip.
Yeah.
Anti-slip. They're
Depends
great.
on ones you get. Some are awful.
True, but also, I guess when Crocs came out, they made a huge mistake. Apparently, they made them too durable.
Yeah, they're like last forever.
They last forever, so people weren't buying anymore. So that's why you can accessorize the crap out of them now.
That makes a lot of sense because
Yeah,
once you
because
mix
I have a pair of Crocs I've had for 12 years now, and they're still fine. Like
shit. The material makes
I've
sense.
never had a pair of footwear that's lasted more than like maybe a year.
Yeah, especially for that price. 'Cause
Yeah,
Crocs
for
aren't-
it's things
are-
you wear all the time.
But Crocs aren't expensive either, right?
No, they're not. They're like, I don't know, 50, 60. I know there's some of these specialty Crocs now that have come out. They're like hundreds of dollars. People go nuts for them.
I could
There's-
not imagine wanting it.
There's like I think a Shrek or
there's big, yeah.
like they
There's
make
lots of-
these like limited
Yeah, you
edition.
can do branding deals on it.
It's crazy.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing that fact about the Crocs being, they wanted to feature it to say there's no actual way that someone would wear this in real life forever.
We should make / little emblems
That's
for the front of your
vetoed,
Croc.
not happening. We know. Well,
that's
we
where you
know
draw
a
the
guy that
line?
makes those. He makes for the bog bags and for Crocs. He makes those little plugins.
Yeah.
he's one of our customers here. He lives half a block up the road.
Just don't call them plugs.
Him and his. That's what they. I don't know what they are. They're like little
saying.
plugs. He's a butt plug manufacturer. One of our regulars here.
Once again,
What do you
2024.
think I'm talking about? Why does everything go back to the butt? I'm just talking about plugs. I could be talking about ears. I could be talking about stuff. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's always about
It's because we
butts.
got into OnlyFans, and I think
that's where
was
you
the
went with
natural
it.
progression. So,
Welcome to Costco. I love you.
so
Idiocracy.
we're here at /
Are we starting?
Oh,
is this the thing? We're doing it.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Are you putting this in?
No, this is going to be all bonus features.
Okay.
'cause
All right. Yeah. Bonus.
It's for a
Is this for
segment
the
about
Patreon.
Patreon.
Are
for
we
the
on
plugs.
Patreon right now? What's
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
What's up?
Oh,
Do you have
I
a good?
need
Do you
to
have a
start
solid
that.
Patreon?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
we have a Patreon where we call, there's certain segments where it's called like This Rounds on Us. So listeners can call in and share their stories when I share like questions of the day and et cetera and things of that nature. So they could share or they could ask you guys questions or whoever the next.
Hell
Hey
yeah,
Tim, I think
dude.
we need to start one of those.
Dude, I just need money. So like, if we could start a Patreon, that would be so sweet.
I mean, there's a lot of money in OnlyFans too.
Right. Well, so the OnlyFans thing, I thought about just doing
Yeah,
a
no one
foot
will see
only OnlyFans, just like
Feet finder?
knees down, right, and then just doing my feet.
Would
and
that be the name of it?
And putting them in like
Knees down.
putting them in mud,
By
and
Tim.
putting them in Skittles, and like seeing, and just seeing what happens, right? I mean, I lost my job during the pandemic, so like I had to come up with creative ways of making revenue. Instead we decided to open a company that was very, very expensive. So
I would. Speaking of
No-
that
no
company,
instead of
comment.
being foot prostitutes,
there's no wrong with foot processing.
we
so.
opened a whiskey and
whiskey
spirits,
horse.
and whiskey and spirits blending company.
Whiskey Horse. That's the name of the episode today. Whiskey Horse / Wood Park. No, I've heard of people like actually making a complete killing off of like the feet finders, or there was a story a couple years ago. Where
Is it you?
No, God.
Okay.
I would in a heartbeat, but my fiance would kill me.
Stories.
Yeah, people.
Quote,
I
quote,
heard.
I
quote,
would
quote.
I
Yes.
would not be here making this podcast.
I
if was
heard by
making-
living it.
You probably still would do the podcast. You need a passion, right? Because the foot thing wouldn't be a passion. That's just paying the bills, right?
That's true.
I do think it's quite funny to think about just like, oh, I gotta go back to work, and like, putting your feet into a vat of like, like gummy bears and being like, oh, thanks, Greg. Appreciate the tip. All right, guys, what do you guys want to see next? I'm like, oh, it was a rough day at the office. Oh, shit. Oh.
My fiance, we actually joked about it.
No comment. I'm just bringing something to life right now.
I could keep going. I could keep going down the rabbit hole.
What, Michael?
Nothing. Something that Tim shared with me the other day. It's freaking hilarious.
I'm kind of curious.
I'll show you later.
No,
this is the Patreon. This is the paid content. You can say whatever you want.
100%. This is going to be so this is actually going to be released as an unfiltered, uncut episode. Like anything that I don't remove, full experience.
You're gonna go barrel proof on this one.
Yes.
All right.
Anything's barrel proof would be.
Is that what you're calling it? That's good. Dude, cash strength. That's good.
Well, it's called uncut and unfiltered.
Uncut and unfiltered.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So anything that has like much less removal of like little bits and shit like that, and anything behind the scenes, people pay for it and they get that. So that's part of the Patreon thing.
The things that had absolutely nothing to do with the content we're supposed to be talking about today.
Yeah, but here's the thing: it's bourbon and bullshit.
Bullshit, right?
So
I would love to talk more about idiocracy.
We are full of bullshit.
That's the best part. People, a lot of times the brand might intimidate outside people who don't know enough about spirits. And I was like, nah, if you're an expert on bullshit, you're going to enjoy the show. And I completely welcome on here.
I like that. Yeah. We can go for hours. I mean, we have
business?
full conversations that mean nothing. And we're like, oh, should we actually get down to business?
Eventually. Well, I was going to tell you what they talking about the feet finder shit and people making money. Did you hear about the two? There were these two women who took took full milk baths and were selling jars and bottles of that milk.
I did hear about this.
And people were buying them at like
gross.
$500 to $1,000 a bottle.
Hell yeah, dude.
And they made a killing. And then you would see people respond with like, they're eating their cereal with this milk.
Oh my God.
And all I thought was,
yes, queen.
Good on you.
Good on you. Absolutely.
Good on you for making your money.
Again, it goes back to that Darwin thing, right? If dumb people are, if you're willing, I mean, listen, I get it. I mean, the internet has really opened up a wide world of fetishes for many, many people. So if you're going to, if you're gonna get $500 for a little quart of milk,
that's a fucking.
How is she say? Is it like unrefrigerated? Like shipping it in the mail?
So they would
it's
send
unpasteurized.
So they would they bathed in it unpasteurized.
I don't know why that made it worse, but it really did.
Yeah, it really made it.
You went really close to the microphone too, which was
unpasteurized.
crazy.
Yeah. So what they did was they would put them in the jars or whatever glass and put like ice cold packs and send it. And these guys were just paying overnight shipping, doing all this stuff. Like whatever I need to get, I need to have my next morning cereal.
I mean, has there ever been a time in your life you're like, you know what I really need right now? I need milk that someone bathed in.
There's a lot of broken people in this world.
Whatever makes them feel whole. I'm not here to judge. Like everyone has
I'll do a lot of judging for you guys.
So back to business.
I don't kink shame.
I don't kink shame.
I want everybody on your Patreon to know that I do not kink
shame.
Yeah,
I don't kink shame whatsoever.
King,
as long as it's
as long as it's illegal. Yeah.
Did you say illegal?
As long as it's legal.
As long as it's legal.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay.
I definitely didn't Freudian.
It's not what I heard.
We both heard illegal. You heard illegal.
Yeah, and we got the
as
headphones
long as
on,
it's legal.
Perfect.
Well, I don't have the headphones, so I'm at a disadvantage. I don't have headphones on.
I asked you if you wanted.
I know. I'm anti-headphones. Dude.
Yeah, that was a choice you made.
You didn't even get to hear the intro music.
No, I can't.
Intro music?
I think it's great. I liked it. Yeah,
enough people are listening to this and hear the sound of my voice, and I'm apologizing because they're hearing the sound of my voice. I'm not the biggest fan of in my head. My voice is fucking great. Love the sound.
Do you
want
to hear what it's like in my head?
I bet it's deep as shit, right? Is it nice? You're like Barry Manilow.
His voice is deep as shit.
I know. I just imagine how deep it is inside of his skull.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, right.
Moving right on.
I'm giving you guys good setups.
Oh, this is great.
Okay?
Oh, I love it. I love every single bit about it. This is going to be such a great uncut, unfiltered episode. So
it's also going to be 4 hours long.
Hey, I'm cool with whatever. I got nothing to do till tomorrow. So, Tim, /, tell us about the location. Tell us about the brand. Tell us about the company. Like what both of you could actually chime in over here ready.
Yeah. So we are located in an old Chevy garage from the 60s here in the center of historic downtown Winter Park in the right field of Rollins College baseball field. And so we're the most American block in Winter Park here. We got bourbon and baseball.
And Chevys.
All Yeah, and Chevys, baby. So we opened last April. So we're just, we're still young and figuring it out. We have a nice little cocktail bar inside of the facility here. We carved out about 6,000 square feet of production space in here where we do all of our distillation, blending, storage, secondary maturation, bottling, proofing, all that stuff happens on the other side of this wall. And then adjacent to the tasting room, we have a private blending lab where Michael and I work out of every day, not only running the business, but also doing all of our blends. As you can look around you here, surrounded by literally hundreds of samples of different experiments.
It's like
and
my
stuff that
Disney
we've
World
worked
in
on.
here.
Yeah. Well, the problem, and this is nothing. Like we dump these bottles every like 4 months. We clean out everything. So I mean, this is like the 5th time it's been this full, and so we have to.
Especially during the summer months when there's a lot of change happening within the barrels. Mm-hmm. The samples we pull really they don't last. They're not giving a true representation of what the whiskey tastes like currently. Mm-hmm. So we'll replenish those quite often during the summer months.
Yeah, we'll notice changes every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks in every single one of our barrels too. So if we're working on a blend, we want to have something cooked and ready to rock and roll during summer for production, but sometimes it doesn't work out like that. And like we're just blended up Krampus Batch 2, which is our holiday rye whiskey that we release on Black Friday every year. And the samples that we pulled from that tasted great when we were dumping they were amazing when we were dumping them. But the proof jumped up 1.5%.
Maybe we should take you back there and let you smell it when we're done here.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
The proofs jumped 3 points on them, though. 3 points from us pulling the samples 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So in 6 weeks, it jumped 3 proof points.
That's wild.
In barrel, it's a consistent
walk through
temperature of
that
about
door.
96
It's
degrees
so
back
hot
in our
back there.
warehouse.
You were talking about it earlier. That weather and that temperature really impacting that
Right.
the flavors.
Which, it impacts our flavor down here for secondary maturation. So anytime we're doing a sherry cask, a rum barrel, Armagnac, cognac, mezcal cask, whatever. We've got a banana mead barrel in there from Zamarium. That's phenomenal that we're aging bourbon in right now. But that's our climate down here is really beneficial for grabbing onto those secondary flavors out of a cask for what people are normally refer to as finishing. It's ideal here in our facility. I mean, if you were to do a finish up in Kentucky, generally speaking, you would do a year to 18 months if you were not cheating. And there are some that cheat.
What's cheating?
There's some brands that just, there's some people that put flavor stuff.
Are you going down that rabbit hole?
No, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. We're not going to call out anybody. But
You don't have to call them out, but what would constitute as cheating?
What would constitute as cheating? Putting extracts into a whiskey and not disclosing that there's extracts in that whiskey. That's cheating.
That's fucked up. That's a fucking straight up lie.
That's a straight up lie.
Okay.
That happens.
So compared to, I would love to, off air, I would love to hear about it. So because we're in Florida, you don't necessarily need to get
no, we don't need. It's not that we don't need to. It's a constitutional choice that we have here with doing things the right way. Always means doing it the hardest way for us, and we have a catchphrase here that one of our that Samir, our lead bartender, came up with. Was like, we love what we do, we hate ourselves. We do everything as hard as humanly possible, but it gets the best result. And so if it gets the best result, then that's what we want to do. So we've got sherry cask finished whiskey that's coming out in October now. That's been in sherry cask since last March. So that'll be 18 months in Oloroso and PX sherry, Pedro Jimenez.
It's actually the first
casks.
blend that we had.
First whiskey we ever
created in this lab. And it's been sitting in that barrel since, I think
March 3rd.
February. No, March 3rd. You're right.
Yeah, because we pulled a sample of it the day we did it. We pulled it and then we brought it to the regional VP of Compass Box. And
that's right.
We met up
We
with
did
him
that.
that day. We're like, you got to try this, and he was like, holy fucking shit! So he goes, what is this? I'm like, yeah, that's something we're working on.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait.
I mean, originally when we thought of this concept 5 years ago, it was focusing on single malts, focusing on malts, focusing on used casks, brand new casks, blending together, creating new flavors, but focusing on malt whiskey.
What changed?
Everything.
Well, I've always
There's
loved
some
bourbon, and Michael loves bourbon too. We have a soft spot in our hearts for Scotch and brandy and other European spirits, but My family comes from Kentucky. I've been drinking bourbon since I was 10 years old. So it's like I've always had a love for bourbon. Michael has a deep love for bourbon as well, and he has a large collection at home. So we were like, why are we just going to the original concept was opening up in a small little warehouse district where nobody would ever come in. It's just him and me with like 10 barrels doing boutique blends, putting them online and seeing who likes what and putting out what we wanted to put out. When they changed the laws, we're like, oh, you can become a cocktail bar as well and sell pours of spirits. Our model can change completely. And we're like, okay, well, let's find someplace with foot traffic. And we were very, 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 very lucky to find this building at the time that we found it at. We signed on this building in 2021, which is like the height of real estate explosion.
I was about to say,
Florida.
like
It's
you could not find anything available.
Right.
Like warehouse under 10,000 square feet was impossible to find.
I was about to say, I was like, that was the fucking highest interest rates, the highest fucking everyone's buying everything.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of companies overseas that were buying, like not Etsy, eBay companies that were buying and renting up all of this warehouse space so they could be, from the U.S. And that.
Sorry.
Oh, I can call them out. Timu. Fuck them.
You have a cough button? No, you don't? Okay, all right.
Yeah, but I can edit it later.
And it literally put such a hardship on available space. So for us, we were looking around. We couldn't find anything. This building wasn't even on the market.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happened? Do you mind if I ask what happened?
So I used to be in commercial real estate, and I actually called one of my friends who I used to work with, and I was talking to her because I know she's very, very well connected in this area. She's been in real estate forever. Great person. And so I asked her, I said, we're looking for space. If anybody can find us something around here, it's you.
Yeah.
And she had a great relationship with our landlord, or the leasing agent for our landlord. And she called on the building. She said, hey, would you lease this? And they were like, well, maybe. We started looking at it. And honestly, the first time we walked in here, this place was a dump. This place was abandoned for 7 years, okay? This place was so gross. So we walk in here, and I still remember today, Tim looks at me and goes, no. It's not happening.
Here we are today.
And I'm like, I see it. Like, we can make something cool with this. And in his head, all he heard is ching, 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 like money signs, like how much money is this going to take? And he's absolutely right.
I was right.
But when we started looking around, we're like, man, who else? When you're able to have a cocktail bar, where else are you going to find a place that has foot traffic, right? We're slightly off the beaten path, but at the same time, we have a parking lot. We have great parking here. We're in between some of the best restaurants and bars in Central Florida.
Yep.
Like, where else can you get that?
Yeah.
So we were like, well, you know what? We're going to take a chance. And mind you, our entire lives are on the line for all this. But we said, let's do it. Let's take a chance and make it happen. And here we are.
That's fucking fantastic. And you're 100% right. When you think about downtown Winter Park, this is the perfect spot for people nightlife or...
Well, this is before everybody started like kind of exiting downtown Orlando, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like I was a downtown Orlando bartender for years, and I met my wife at a bar in downtown Orlando. Like we were downtown Orlando.
The whole
people.
concept of this was kind of conceived downtown Orlando.
Right, yeah, at the same bar I met my
same thing with
wife
the
in,
Cubs.
right? Like, yeah, we're the Woods, back when the Woods was the Woods,
Yeah,
right?
not what it is today.
Back when Billy used to work there, the Woods. Remember the Woods?
Yeah.
Woods was great.
I used to love the Woods.
Same here.
Woods
It
was
was one of my
incredible.
favorite places.
Right, one of
Brian
the best
Minkle.
whiskey back bars.
Yeah.
And they got ranked when they were operating. They got ranked as they made it top 100. I think they ranked like 88 top 100 best bars in the United States.
Jeez.
They were the only-
Deservedly so.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
They're the only one in Florida outside of Miami that even made the rank. They were rock and rolling when they were, but yeah, I mean, so people started leaving downtown, started going over to like the Mills area,
Mills popped off for a lot.
popped off huge.
Oh, yeah.
Still
Yeah.
is.
Still is. It's still growing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
very
still.
much.
yeah.
They have some construction in some areas, but you're right. The Mills became that spot.
But our road here, Orlando, Orange Avenue becomes Mills.
Yep.
So it becomes Mills a half a mile down the road from us, right? So Courtesy, you hit up Courtesy. And then we're 2 blocks away from Courtesy. Across the street from us is a new sake bar that they're going to be opening up, a cocktail bar here where Sato is, by the owners and operators of Sato. They're going to be opening up something here in the next year. We've got Ravenous Pig across the street from us.
Yeah.
In the beer garden.
Yeah, we've got great neighbors. So we're
fantastic neighbors.
Super. Yeah, because Courtesy wasn't even here when we signed. We signed, and then Courtesy.
And then we heard they were
announced.
moving, and Tim and I were so Courtesy is one of my favorite places, and I absolutely love the staff. I love everything about that
I
place.
hate the staff there. That's the only thing I love. Fucking Mitchell.
Oh, I fucking love Mitchell.
And so we heard, I was like, Tim, I was like, I just heard Courtesy's moving. And he's like, where? And we were talking and we're like, that's literally like 2 blocks down the road. So now, like, what's really cool about here is we have this like natural progression that happens for a lot of people that come here. They start at Ravenous, they'll come here and they'll finish at Courtesy. Or they'll go to Courtesy, they'll come here and then they'll finish at Ravenous. And it's crazy.
That's 1,000% how all of my friends operate.
Right. Exactly. Like it's wild because we're literally right in between the two. And sometimes, honestly, people will sometimes start here because if they start here, don't want to spread this, but some people leave their cars here and then walk to both. So yeah,
Because we have a massive parking
yeah,
lot.
because we're the only place that's parking.
Yeah, nobody has parking. We have more parking spaces than Ravenous Pig does.
Yeah, 100% you do.
And Courtesy.
And I know people that come here. They're like, "Well, I like to come here because I know I can get a parking space." It's like, well, that's an interesting way to pick your place of.
Yeah, because our
drink or whatever.
capacity here is about, we can, like on a normal night, about 50 people, 60 people at a time. Like that's about our max capacity, which isn't a lot, right? It's not a ton. We have, seating for 16 inside plus standing room. And then right now, nobody's sitting outside this time of year. It's brutal.
Well,
I mean, last week was actually quite nice. A lot of outside activity last week.
Yeah.
This week it's just been brutal.
but we started really small because when we opened, Tim and I are like, "Is anybody actually going to come here?"
Yeah, we weren't going to
didn't even have a staff.
We weren't going to staff. It was just going to be Michael and I running the tasting
had no
room,
staff.
and that was it.
That is bananas. You were going to just run
Yeah,
into
we were just
Because we're like, who's going to come and want to
stupid.
like?
It's Winter Park. Everyone's
Arthur,
going to
look at
Well,
we're
we didn't know.
stupid. Okay.
I was like, yeah, we got this, no problem. We might see like 4 or 5 people a night. It'll be fine.
I would never say stupid. I'll say ambitious. How about that?
No, stupid. I'll say stupid. We didn't think about it. We didn't think we would be busy, right? So we just thought that we would
Maintain.
just a bunch of nerds would come here and we'd take like care of like 10 nerds a night and it would be cool, and then we go home and that was it. And it wasn't until our marketing team was like, you're gonna have 500 people there on opening day, like it's gonna be
And they were not
bananas.
Yeah.
And so then we panicked and reached out to everyone because we've got good friends in
Do
the
you want
bar
to work?
industry here.
Please come here.
Yeah, you have
Like,
people in the industry.
hey, you got anybody? I need bodies. And so we found I've brought in some people from my old programs that I've ran in the past, and then we've got some other key players from the bar industry here in the area that came on board. And so we're really, really quite fortunate. We have a killer staff, and it's the reason why this whole thing works.
Yeah, and they're still here since we opened.
Yeah,
so
they're all still
we're very, very fortunate.
And from an outside perspective, outsider who obviously doesn't work with you guys, big shout out to your marketing team, to your advertising, your social media team. Like your brand popped up everywhere. It's like
we're very fortunate. And so funny thing, literally found Sarah because of the opening of the Courtesy.
Really?
And they opened, was it October? They opened October, I think. Was it in October? I think it was. And then we opened up the following April.
Okay.
And so found her, and because we were looking around, like, because one thing we did know is social media is king. And a brand like ours needs help getting to as many people as possible.
100%.
So we knew that was going to be a big push. We just needed to find the right person. So yeah, we've accidentally ran into Sarah, talked to her at the Courtesy grand opening, and I was like, yeah, she seems to know her stuff. She seems pretty quick, pretty smart. So she comes here, talks to Tim, and we're like, yeah, I think she's it. Like, she basically essentially runs our lives at this point.
I was about to, because your social media is active, your partnerships with other events and everything is super active. There's always something going on. There's always something attracting people to here. Even for a casual person who doesn't necessarily, they're just looking for a date night. Mm-hmm. You guys have so many options for casuals, actual active drinkers who want whiskey and bourbons and all that, or just someone who wants a cocktail lounge. you have checked a lot of the boxes for Winter Park nightlife.
Well,
or Florida nightlife in general.
We try,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
a lot
most-
of that really
most
has to do with
Well,
Tim.
we're still trying to get over the idea with the general public that we're just a one-trick pony. We're just a whiskey house, right? Which,
Yeah.
we focus on whiskey, but we're spirits nerds. I mean, this is a company owned and operated by spirits nerds that have a deep-seated passion with the industry. And if it tastes good and it's fermented and distilled, I don't even say that, fermented, period. Like, we want to explore it. And as long as we can talk about it and we think that there's a good application for us and we would do justice by the partnership of the distillery that we're working with, then we'll strongly consider it. I mean, that's why I'm a massive rum fan, have been for years. And agave fan as well, and have been for years. I'm really happy to see the general population really getting on board with agave. Makes me a little nervous as to the future of it, just because agave takes a very, very long time to grow. So you're talking like the same analogy of the bourbon boom that happened, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, is happening with tequila right now. Well, Weber, blue agave azul takes 6 to 8 years to mature.
Yeah.
Most of the mezcals that people are freaking out over right now take 10 to 20, 25 years to mature. Yeah. That's a long gestational period of growing and everything in order for it to be harvested and ready. So
You're right too, because I'm a consumer. Just as a consumer, you've noticed a trend. Consume. What was it? They Among Us or whatever. What was that movie with Roddy Piper back in the day? Where
They Live, sir. You're referring to They Live.
That whereas
John fucking Carpenter, dude.
I love John Carpenter.
Show some
I'm a
fucking respect.
Massive horror fan. We will talk. Holy shit! Not it. What's a movie with in Alaska? The Thing.
Don't tell it.
It's a thing where if you actually speak the language in the opening scene, he actually tells you that
Norwegian. Yeah, it tells you everything that happens.
Tells you everything if you actually understood it. It was one of the little fun facts about horror movies.
I've warmed up to. We're gonna stop talking about whiskey here for a second. I've warmed up to the prequel that came out in 2011. I did not like it at all when it first came out, because The Thing's my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie, hands down. It's number one movie for me, right? Yeah. But when the prequel came out, I was like, I've watched it so many times since then. I was like, this is actually pretty good. They tried really hard with the CGI, and then hearing what the studio, like the director for it was like, I want to do everything practical. I'm bringing on the same people that worked on the 1982 film. Like, we're doing this. And the studio was like, no, we really want more CGI, and pushed very, very hard for computer-generated special effects with the monster stuff. And, so if you can get past that, it's like, man, this is actually really well constructed. Yeah. It doesn't capture what Carpenter did, because what Carpenter did was just...
Carpenter's a fucking genius.
He just didn't do a horror movie. He did a mystery, like a 1930s noir whodunit. Yeah. And... it was just brilliant. It was just so brilliant. Like, great character actors across the board.
Tim, I'm a massive horror fan. So you, like,
dude,
you need to come back. Yeah. So Tim and I kind of have the same love for horror movies, and so for October, the entire month, all we do is show horror movies here.
Oh, I'm gonna come
because everything gets converted.
We do Thing Thursdays.
Yeah, we do Thing Thursdays.
I'll do it.
It's literally on repeat.
So we just play the thing on repeat every Thursday.
If you guys came to the home studio, I have signed glove by Robert Englund that says, "Where's the bourbon, bitch?" Because it's a scene in one of his movies.
Hell yeah, dude.
Freddy Krueger says it when he body shapeshifts into the father of one of the characters. I have a signed poster from Candyman.
Robert Englund's the fucking man.
Matthew Lillard signed my Scream poster. I have the original Jason mask. The original Jason signed a mask that says "No Lives Matter." He signed it.
Damn, dude.
Then I have the license plate from Haddonfield because in the original Halloween, Michael Myers drives at some point. So that license plate is signed by the original Michael Myers.
Jeez.
I'm a massive
you're an
fan.
autograph
That's
fan
awesome.
too.
Well, they're not going to be around forever.
Right. Do you have the Thing coffee table book?
No, I want it.
The Thing coffee table book is the best book that has no words in it that I own.
There are three things I need still. I need Pinhead's The Cube. Like the Hellraiser.
Oh, Pandora's
stuff.
box? Yeah.
I need that. I need something from Jigsaw, and I need The Thing. Like, I need something from the Saw series, but it hasn't stopped.
The actual thing.
No, something.
No, get a bottle of J&B from J&B from the 80s, which you can buy, a couple $100 online.
see if I can
and
get it done.
start. And go to dude.
One of their
I fucking love Kurt
horror
Russell
cons.
so much, man. I would just get Kurt Russell a signed bottle of J&B by Kurt Russell would be stupid.
During the show, I take show notes, and that's
That would
something I'm
be-
actually putting on.
That would be invaluable. So you can go. There's vintage spirit websites. It's way more popular in Europe than it is here. It's kind of hard with our 3-tier system to do it. There's a couple companies out of DC that can get away with it, but outside of DC, not really. But in Europe, there's a lot of vintage spirits, and you can find 1980s J&B Scotch, blended Scotch bottles.
I'm gonna have to do that. Definitely.
Yeah, dude, do that every year. I sit down with a bottle of J&B and watch the thing alone.
You guys are gonna fuck around and have a permanent fixture here at Thursdays. Every Thursday, I'm just be sitting here. Like, are they
It's
recording
fine.
something? No,
You would
just
not.
hanging out.
So we have the best interaction during horror movies. So, like last year, what were we playing? Slither.
Oh,
And-
that's a good one too.
Yeah, it's really good, and everybody here got so into it, and there was oohs and ahs and people going. It was so much fun.
I love
We're
that.
Right.
packed and everything.
I love-
just like screaming.
That's one
It was fantastic.
That's one of the things I've enjoyed about your location. Like, you're building a community, and I think that's what's really hits home with places like the Courtesy, the Old Woods, all that. When you build your brand, so there's a loyalty there. Like, I got engaged at the Courtesy during a cocktail making class.
Yeah.
I tricked my friends into thinking it was content for this podcast. I've been whenever I've found a place that I enjoy going, and I love the vibe, I love the people who own it, I will be loyal forever. And you guys are doing a fantastic
Thank
job
you.
from the outside
Thanks, man.
perspective.
I mean, that was one thing that like Tim and I really wanted to create here. Really, kind of when it came down to the design of the tasting room, was nowadays whiskey or spirits in general, you can get pretty pretentious pretty fast. There's a lot of that out there.
Very much so.
But we wanted to make sure that everybody that walked in here, like regardless of where you are in your whiskey journey, you could know nothing or you could know a ton.
Yeah.
But if you walk in here, we want to treat everybody the same way. We wanted to create more of a fun kind of, hey, I'm hanging out at my friend's house kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And that's why we have a communal table, right? Because you might walk in here and not know anybody, but you are going to leave having met people that you're like, man, I hope I see them again.
Yeah.
Like, that was fun.
Yeah.
And that's really the vibe we wanted to create, is more laid back, but also educationally focused. Because if you come here, you can learn as much as you want, or you can just come and hang out. Like, it's really up to you. And that was something we were really kind of big on, because we feel that nowadays with so much information out there, and there's some good and there's some bad, we just want to make sure that everybody can be a little bit more knowledgeable about the products that they're drinking. And that's why you have the slogan, know what's in your bottle. Just because the idea is, if you're drinking, if you're consuming something, food, alcohol, whatever it is, I feel like you should kind of know what you're putting into your body.
100%.
And that was really big for us. So that's why we wanted to educate, so people, even if they're not buying our products, then go out in the world and buy smarter.
Of course.
And really be more educated about the products that they're buying.
Buy smart, be happy. That is it's our big motto here. Buy smart, be happy.
Yeah. That's awesome. Buy smart, be happy. Why do I feel like that's? Well, he's just laughing at you.
Bro, you should put that up
That's
as
the
a
section of the bullshit part.
You should put that up for your Patreon members. Like, if anybody can get this, they get a free /glass. I'll do it. Buy smart. The first person to say buy smart, be happy, we'll give them one of our spade glasses, our taster glasses.
Buy smart, be happy. All right.
Is that it? Right? Is that the?
I don't know, dude. You just made that up.
Buy smart, be happy. Right?
Now it's a jingle?
It was a jingle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it buy
It's
smart,
a
be
commercial.
happy? It's a commercial. I can't remember it though.
Oh, jeez.
I will pay $15 to anybody that can't remember it though. Spade
It's a
glass.
Holler Hyundai.
That is a Tim only.
Oh, is it Holler
guarantee.
Hyundai?
Holler Hyundai.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, cool.
Well,
Those are our landlords. That's
Yeah,
great. That's perfect.
That's very
why.
fitting.
Bourbon and Bullshit is not represented by Holler Hyundai.
This is not a paid advertisement for Holler, but
But-
I do like Holler. Holler's not bad.
Yeah, Holler Hyundai also has it apparently.
Just got a car from. one
You
of their
did just get a
dealerships.
car
Yeah.
from the Holler family. There you
Yeah.
go.
All right.
Keeping in the family.
Greg, I'm gonna circle back real quick. We were talking about how the agave spirits and everything, and you can see there's a hyper kind of influx of consumption of it in those products. I mean, we're all relatively familiar with like allocated bourbons and whiskeys. We're seeing that same trend going.
We are very
agave
familiar
spirits.
with allocated bourbon.
We're going to try some allocated bourbon here in a minute.
All right.
Yeah, we pulled some
Yeah.
samples out of. So we have a brand here called Allocated, which is quite funny.
Well, shit.
It's not forward slash. It's a totally separate brand. It's called Allocated, and it's essentially it's our money laundering Mexican cartel scheme in order for us to take.
Okay, none of that is true.
No, none of that. No, Robin Hood is what I meant to say. Taking from the rich and giving to the poor.
None of that is true.
No, none of that's true. It's no Mexican cartels were involved.
But you see what the
maybe a
brands
little
like,
bit in the agave stuff we do, but
someone's
None of that
involved
is
in
true.
there.
someone's involved. That's a little bit.
But you
Stop
see like
talking.
the brand like Fortaleza and all those like now these tequilas
Right.
are super hard to find
Right.
and all these crazy things, and you're seeing it pick up where people
Seca and
yeah, where these like these are additive free and all these really now those are the agave equivalents to like those hard to find bourbons and whiskeys.
Well, I think that's also like the equivalent of gluten-free vodka with like Tito's was, right? Like
Yeah.
additive-free tequila. It's like, oh, there's additives in tequila. Like, yeah, there's additives in most shit you put in your body, man. If you're
100%.
buying a product that is not, truly handmade, artisanal, small batch, and you pay, if you're getting some kind of cheap tequila for $20 a bottle or something, I can guarantee there's corn distillate in there. I can guarantee there's glycerol in there. There's sugar added to it. There's color added to it. I guarantee it. Like almost guaranteed, right? And there's other, but like, then there's like Espolón, right? Which is additive-free vodka. That's a good $25 bottle of tequila. That's excellent. It's excellent. There's so many different brands that have come out with, and they just never talked about it because they're like, oh, people care about this. Like, what, you're telling people there's no gluten in your vodka? There's no gluten in any distillate.
Yeah.
This is a thing? No, but it's just brilliant marketing on Tito Beverages side to be like, yeah, this is gluten-free vodka. Like, yeah, no shit, it's distilled. Everything distilled doesn't have gluten in it. And you're using corn whiskey that MGP doesn't want. You're just buying corn whiskey from MGP that's not aged, and you're running it through your pot stills in Austin, Texas, and calling it handmade.
That is
So edit that out. Cut that right there.
41 minutes.
I'm not talking shit about Tito.
No, I think you just did.
I'm not talking shit about the third most powerful beverage company in the world.
I have that noted. But no, to your point, there is a marketing factor to that. Like if you just basically indirectly shit on the competition by highlighting something that everyone has, it's like saying, sugar free. It's like, well, yeah, none of this has sugar. It's water, sparkling water. It's like, what the fuck do you mean?
Gluten, yeah, what was it? Keto.
Keto.
Like, yeah.
Like full keto. It's like, yeah.
Our water is ketogenic here.
Yeah.
It is ketogenic water.
Shit
we
like
serve
that.
Here.
We're going to take a quick...
Should we bottle that and say that?
Dude, dude. Yeah, we could put peptides in it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, that would be actually pretty funny. Just for a real quick brand.
Ketones.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I know that we're going to pour up some things and try. You said you want to try some things live or some other stuff.
Yeah, let's go, man. This is going to be a treat for you.
Yeah,
This is a treat for me.
Yeah, it's a treat for all of us.
Whiskey's
Treats all around.
Treats.
All right, be right back, guys. Hey guys, while you're listening to the show, we know that you might want to partake in some drinks with us and enjoy in the libations. Here at Bourbon and Bullshit, we ask that you drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive, avoid Amazon one-click buy, and for the love of God, do not text your ex. You do not need that kind of closure. They've moved on, so should you, Joseph. You should stop Facebook stalking. She knows. She knows. Now, all jokes aside, don't do anything dumb, take care of yourselves, and be safe. Thanks, guys. Now back to the show. All right, guys, and we are back. I know Tim and Mike wanted to try some things that they pulled out. There's a lot of alcohol in front of us right now. So I'll let Tim kind of walk through what we're about
We're in
to
a room
do.
surrounded by alcohol right now.
Yeah.
Right? These aren't jars of my urine. This is all.
But now they're on the table, which means that it feels like we're about to be pouring these.
Only one of these is my urine.
Is that
Okay,
part of
you
the
might
game,
need
or-
to see a doctor.
Yeah, none of these are the color
We
you
have a
want your urine to be.
so we do private tastings generally almost every day.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
we're
one
open,
tonight.
and then we have one later today, and I'm gonna do that on the couple that has a private tasting later today. I'm like, only one of these is my urine. I am gonna say that. That's funny.
None
I'm
of these
funny.
colors are
I'm a
good.
funny person,
None of these are healthy.
Only in your own head,
dude. I am funny.
So Tim, which one do you want to pour up first?
not your urine.
So, well, I guess let's talk about like what we actually have here. So, right, so we have our brand / and what I was saying earlier about this is an idea that particularly Michael came up with, which I loved like instantly, was what if, because we're / is not an MGP brand, right? What we do here is we work with small independent distilleries from all around the country. We hand select barrels from them. We bring those in here. We blend with them, creating something completely unique and never seen before in the marketplace. And then we're 100% transparent about that. We tell the stories of the blenders that we source from.
So for anyone who doesn't know, just newer listeners, break down the blending as opposed to with typical distillation.
So blending is extremely common. Yeah. If it does not have the word single barrel on your bottle of whiskey, it's a blend. Now, our definition of a blend is a little bit different than what the industry's definition of a blend is. The industry's definition of a blend is more than one barrel blended together, popped in so it's a tool used for consistency across releases, right? So your Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond 7-year that you love is always going to taste like Heaven Hill 7-year Bottle and Bond over the course of like a decade. You might see some nuances between year 10 and year 1 and some changes, but for the most part, it's pretty damn consistent. And that there's teams of people at those companies, and that's their entire job to do that. For us, we don't do anything consistently. When it comes to blending, we just want to make the best possible blend we can make with the current inventory that we have. So right now we have 10 different distilleries from 9 different states, 16 different mash bills from bourbon, wheated bourbon, wheat whiskey, rye, malted whiskey, single malts, peated malts, just a host of different and different variations within each one of those categories. And us constructing those, putting them together, and then talking about the distillers, it really does make it like we've been at this now for 2 years, and when I wake up in the morning, I wake up very excited to come to work, which is quite different than what my previous job was. Doing it for like 9 years, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go to work. I don't want to go to work, but it's like, ooh, yay, it's blending. I get to try those blends that we laid down last week, or something like that, or we get to do this, or go talk to this person about this, and yeah, it's just usually and then I have to do a shout out to you because you I don't know if this podcast is going to go back to back with Spirit of French Lick, but you introduced me to Justin, and he's awesome. Oh my gosh, he's so good. I'm very excited to listen to that.
Yeah, it's going to go right back to back.
Okay,
Justin
cool.
was fantastic.
Justin's the man, dude. I had a 40-minute conversation, and I've been a fan of Spirits of French Lick for a while. Have several bottles at home. Would love the opportunity to work with them, and so we're exploring those options right now and see if that's going to work out. He's got tons of really radical stuff up there in Indiana that we're just
dibs on the first bottle. I will excite the car.
No, yeah, I owe you that.
That would only be appropriate.
I owe you that.
You did make the introduction.
Yeah, I owe you that for sure. So
looking forward to it.
So with like brands like Rhapsody that we came out with, and so every time we do a whiskey blend, we name it, and that's it, man. It's like a child. But once it's gone, it's gone. And we won't do that again, just because we can't replicate it. We could have those same, 8 barrels that went into Rhapsody, our first bourbon blend. We could have those same exact 8 barrels, same age statement, same distiller, same cooperage, same everything, and it's never going to be the same.
Yeah.
So it's more interesting for us to just clean slate every time. That's a little ambitious, but to clean slate it each time we want to release a bourbon and just choose different distilleries, different age statements, different coopers, different stuff to work with, different char levels on the barrels. But it keeps both Michael and I like heavily engaged in what we're doing every day, and it's very, very exciting doing it. But
I will say that I just as you mentioned that this is something you wake up and you're passionate about. You're excited to do it every day. I think that's awesome. There's
no way we could continue to do what we do and be here as long as we are
at the speed
at which we do it. If we did not love what we do,
yeah. But there's a lot to be said about that. Like you guys took a massive
we would have
risk.
dropped dead months ago.
There's a lot to be said about that, and not many people will be willing to take that risk to pursue their passion.
Not many people understand what that means.
Yeah, you have to find what you love, do that, and like we talked about it earlier, maybe OnlyFans will pay the bills, but the podcast is the passion. So we could people don't even like taking that risk. So the fact that you guys took that risk, and
if you guys want to hear exclusive OnlyFans content, you got to join the Patreon. I'm just saying,
right.
Yeah, whole content dump about OnlyFans. It's really quite exciting.
It'll be fun. So which one do you want to start with?
So that's the / brand, right?
Okay.
100% transparency, farm glass distillers. But Michael had a great idea because we got a line on some really exceptionally well-aged stocks of high rye bourbon from MGP. which everybody uses, right? This is what, all the big brands that everybody knows and loves: High West, Bullet, Angels Envy, Smooth Ambler, Nashville Barrel Co. Like, that's what everybody uses, MGP.
Yeah.
Like 40% of all the whiskey in the marketplace is MGP.
Yeah.
And so we got a line on some double-digit barrels of high rye MGP. So we thought, we're like, well, let's start up a new brand out. It's not forward slash. We're not, it's not related to what we're doing with forward slash. Like forward slash is our mission work, right? Like that's what it's our duty and our job to do that kind of stuff. We're like, well, what if we started a brand where we could sell off in single barrel form? We could sell off single barrel lots of older aged products from Barton, from MGP, from Bardstown, from BBC, from Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Yeah, it kind of gave us an opportunity that if something came across our desk and we're like, hey, this is really good stuff,
but we can't talk about it,
and it doesn't really fit our model,
right?
But still feel like people are going to really like this, and somebody needs to put this out. So that's where kind of the idea came from. But being who we are, we're not going to take it too seriously.
Right. So we named the brand Allocated because we thought that would be very funny if for liquor store owners, when customers come in to be like, hey, do you have any allocated bourbon? Like, well, yes, I do.
I have a whole run.
And, yeah,
Exactly.
and for it to be like, the shit that people are looking for in the allocated whiskey category. So this is some 10 turning 11-year-old high rye MGP bourbon that is low proof. Everything here is 107 to 110 proof, so nothing too scorching, but it's all cask strength. So we do, again, what Michael said, we don't take it too seriously. So this is on the label. It's like allocated bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey, raw cask. Unfiltered
Raw cask.
And so when you get the bottles are chunky. Like we do not filter it. Like it goes straight from barrel to bottling line, with no filter line in it. So some of the bottles are heavily charred on the bottom. They have heavy char dust on the bottom of them.
On average, how much does a
It's
bottle?
fiber.
On what's that?
On average, how much is allocated?
I think the MSRP on it's like 100 to 110, whatever that is. We don't sell them. We don't sell it out of our store here. It doesn't. It's not a forward slash product. But what I can do is, if we sell that to a liquor store, the money that we make off of that, I can go and turn that around to Boulder Spirits and buy 2 barrels of Boulder Spirits with that revenue, right? So what I'm doing is I'm taking money, from a big company. Or taking an asset from a large company and flipping it and giving it back into a smaller producer. And that fits more with the forward slash brand.
Right.
So Allocated's not a line that we're going to get filthy rich off of. It's funny as hell to us, but it enables us to be able to buy more whiskey from the producers that we care about to funnel more work into forward slash.
If someone wanted to buy the bottle, where would they be able to find it?
They'd have to go to a liquor store to find it. We don't sell them out of our tasting room.
Okay.
And just so you know, the samples sitting here, those are actually about to be picked this coming week by a few liquor stores.
I'm looking forward to
Stay tuned.
Oh shit!
We'll tell you. We'll tell you once we'll get permission from the store and everything like that. Yeah. This stuff's amazing. So we've got 5 single barrels here, all at cask strength. We'll start low and go high.
Of course. Hey, I'm here for it.
Right, the way. This is the way. Low and go high. Here we go.
This is the way.
Gotta get the sound effect.
ASMR.
So while we talk about that and the allocated and try this, I know that we talked about blending and not being necessarily like brand new or anything, and people have been doing it for a while. And it's funny that you brought up High West because we had featured them on a show before, talking about like the little bit of flack that they got initially for blending and all that. And I'm like,
they're pioneers.
Yeah,
they're pioneers.
They're pioneers.
Yeah.
And anybody wants to talk shit about High West is out of their mind.
High West is one of my favorite brands.
Yes, they got purchased by Constellation, but like the owners and the dudes that started that, man, they're pioneers. And the foresight to be like, we're going to focus on rye.
Yeah.
We're going to focus on rye. We're going to focus on blended rye because blended rye actually is incredible.
Yeah.
And the stocks that they were getting at the time they were getting it at, and the stuff they were doing, like mad respect for High West.
They were really taking
respect.
a chance and doing something different, and that's what kind of drew me into High West. Was I was like, they're doing cool stuff. Like they're not doing what everybody else is doing.
Like the Prisoner Share, all of that stuff. They were
super cool.
Winter Night's Dram, the different like scenes, even their branding was fantastic. The bottles, everything
was great.
Stood out, and it was one of my favorite brands that I just randomly got introduced to. I won't even lie. Part of the reason why I tried their bottle was Shakespeare, Midwinter Night's Dream. And I
Right.
saw Midwinter Night's Dream. I was like, what is this? They're like,
Right.
oh, it's really popular. I was like, sure, I'll buy it. I fell in love with it and then just started going like to their back catalog, like everything else that they've had. Bourbon,
Right.
Yippee-ki-yay, all
Yeah.
of the stuff.
So back in like 2009, 10, I'm trying to think. Yeah, 9 and 10. I think 2010 is when we first had High West. But like, there was 30 distilleries in the United States when High West launched. 30. There's 3,000 now. But there were 30 companies in the United States that were doing distilled spirits or bottling product and that kind of stuff. It just wasn't a thing. High West used to roll around with Smooth Ambler. So like John Little and like all those guys and Johnny Foster, who is, if you don't know who Johnny Foster's, I should probably introduce you to him. He's absolutely incredible. And
He's amazing.
I think he would be a great guest on your
love
show.
it.
Oh, yes.
Johnny Foster's
one.
Johnny Foster started Smooth Ambler with John Little. It's John and John.
Okay. Put it on the notes.
Yeah, he was like employee number one.
He was employee number one.
John, what was the last name?
John
Foster.
Foster. Johnny Foster. God damn, I love Johnny Foster. And he does consulting work now, and he's just great. He's just great. He's a wealth of knowledge.
I would love it.
And I think he'll give you a good insight too at the current state of the whiskey market too, because he just travels the country.
He sees it all firsthand. It wasn't too long ago he was here. We got to spend like the entire day with him. It was so much fun.
Right. So they used to High West and Smooth Ambler and Boyd and Blair of all brands, they all teamed up and they were all sharing marketing share and going around. So when they launched here in Central Florida, I mean, they were with Stacole at the time, which then got, purchased by Winebow out of New York. And that changed things drastically. But Stacole was really had the foresight to be like, these brands are cool and interesting and different and nobody's doing anything like this in this space. And that was 2011.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that long ago.
Not at
It
all.
was 13 years ago.
In the
This
grand
is
scheme
not
of the spirit game, 13 years is
the grand
nothing.
scheme of time. It's like nothing, right? Right. I don't know why we're talking that.
I don't know because we're holding whiskey in our hands.
We are holding
We
whiskey.
haven't
This
tried
is
any.
barrel
So
number
cheers.
94
Cheers. Thank you,
for- yeah,
thank you, gentlemen, for allowing me to be part of this.
So this is...
Ooh.
So these spiked, huh? These went up in proof.
bit.
These went up 3% since we got them because these were all 107, 108 when we first got them here last year.
And I had a feeling they might. They were
Yeah.
very low.
Now we're at 110, 112. Need some agua.
So this is what proof right now?
This is 110.
One second. That does taste smoother than a 110.
Yeah, I mean, that's luxury in a glass. I mean, that is a luxurious bourbon.
And that's good.
Ooh, boy.
Ooh.
That's
All right. That's fucking delicious, actually. I'm
And you know what's just crazy?
kind of mad.
How long have you been drinking bourbon for?
So a little bit of history, quick history on me. I've been drinking bourbon for about 10 years.
Okay.
Prior to that, I'm Hispanic, so it's all rums and
Hell yeah.
and a lot of those Hispanic spirits, even tequila, mezcals, all those Hispanic spirits. I'm Dominican, so a lot of my stuff is rum, and the only real
Brugal.
whiskeys-
Let's go, dude.
Brugal 1888. We did a full feature on
Yeah,
that.
1888
Master
is the shit.
Distiller.
So good.
I sold a bottle of that yesterday at Good Pour. Somebody
Yeah.
was like, dude, get that. That's
Yes.
a fucking killer rum for the
That's
price.
literally what I was drinking yesterday.
Yeah.
I was making drinks
so
with that
good.
with a pineapple gum syrup that I
Right.
made at home, all this kind of.
Hell yeah.
So I love Brugal. So it's especially because that has a lot of bourbon influences, even on their distillation and all that, and trying to get those nuances. So and I also love the fact that they're their master distiller, I guess, what would we call their master? That she is the fifth generation of that brand, and she's pioneering a lot of they have the Explorer collection, what you would call their experimental collection that she released recently.
I would like to see them come out with an additive free, no color, no dosage, no nothing. I would love for them because I think their distillate is solid.
yeah, I do. I think their product is
I would-
excellent,
I think the marketplace would be down for that.
Yeah, I think they're doing
especially because they have so much brand recognition.
That-
I really think they could do some cool stuff and kind of lead that way of saying, hey, we're not actually going to put any more additives.
And I think she is kind of leaning towards that, even with their experimental stuff, that she's trying to pioneer and do something unique and
Cool.
very interesting to her, and trying to almost send the brand in a new direction,
Right.
as opposed to just being known as the just typical, let me get a handle of Brugal and be at a party or a
Right.
quinceañera or
And
something.
you can still keep that with the Añejo line or anything
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they want to make it kind of elevate the brand. So I'm excited for it, especially.
There's space,
I'm
in,
here for that.
particularly in rum, because Brugal does not hit with like rum heads in particular. Brugal's not in the conversation, right? Everybody's talking about Claren, everybody's talking about what Foursquare's doing or what Vellier is doing and what bottling's coming from them, but nobody's talking about like stuff like Brugal or Bacardi or Mount Gay or anything. But these distilleries have the ability to do that. I don't know if the executives that run them have the foresight to understand that that's the opportunity that they have in front of them. And that's okay, because then there's smaller producers, people like us that do have the opportunity to do something like that. You know anybody DR we could get? I want some pre-additive added Brugal. I want to source
Heck
that.
yeah.
I mean,
let's bring that down, dude. Let's bring
Yes.
that up here.
Let's make that happen.
I mean, fuck around and I might find out. I might make some connections.
I am all for that.
DR is a small island. I'm pretty sure I know enough.
Somebody, right? Yeah,
somebody who
We'll
works
pop
there.
we'll pop over to Haiti. And then go pop over. Yeah, go grab some more Claret. Yes, absolutely.
But let's
go.
Yeah, only been drinking bourbon and whiskey for about 10 years, short of Johnny Walker or Jack Daniels. Like back in the day when I was like a kid, when your dad or someone like, hey, have this. Like short of that, no, it's all been rum. So over the course of 10 years,
like look at 10 years. Look at what's happened to the industry in 10 years. In 10 years ago, you used to be able to get a bottle of Elijah Craig 12-year-old for $27. Right, it was 12-year-old Elijah Craig for $27. I mean that product right now is that's $100 bottle.
Yep.
If Heaven Hill releases that, right, and that's where we're at.
That's the industry now.
That's the industry.
And it kind of sucks because there's overinflation, and then you don't necessarily know if anything's actually good without spending a huge amount of money, because there's some blends that are just not as good. Ooh, so we just poured another one. What's the proof on this one?
I screwed up the proofs. This one dropped. This is 107.
Okay.
107 and a half.
All right. Before we drink this,
Math is hard.
Math is hard. Want to talk a little bit about your
handwriting.
Let me try this one.
That's-
Cheers.
That's accurate.
Math is hard. Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Appreciate you guys again. It'll be interesting.
This is just starting to tiptoe in this line of some of my favorite whiskeys. Michael and I really love this flavor note that we find in some aged bourbons, that really well aged bourbons that a lot of people don't like. I don't understand why, but it tastes like juicy fruit bubblegum. Do you remember juicy fruit when
Yes.
you were a kid?
Yeah.
There's this juicy fruit bubblegum flavor that I get on some rare, every once in a while on like
A kick.
on a bourbon, and there's like just a little whisper of this. So I don't think we're going to sell this one. I think we're going to hold back on this one until it's 12 years old or something like that.
I'll be here when it's 12 years old.
Right? Am I wrong? Or do you get just a little whisper of that? The
do.
precursors? Yeah. And it's got like this cherry cough syrup kind of flavor that's starting to get in there. This one's banging. This one's banging.
ASMR? Are we giving that? Michael, is that what we're giving to people?
That is not me. I just
Just
want
giving
everybody to
people
know
what they
that's
want,
not,
okay?
That's not me.
It's for the
Nobody
OnlyFans and Patreon.
I'm here for everyone.
Yeah, just your Patreon is just 35 minutes of.
So I want to ask you guys. Everyone has a favorite. Like, so far we've tried some unique things, but what has been your favorite either product that you've made in house that stand out as something you're like, oh, that's my baby, or something that holds a special place in your heart? From it first in brand and to outside of the brand, something that you're like, hey, if it's not mine, this is what I would like at my table.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's really hard. Because it really is mood based.
I mean, I think everything that we put out, so like everything that we do, Tim and I have to agree on, and it's got to be something we enjoy.
Love.
How often have you guys disagreed on a?
There's been a few back and forth, but
there's no hard line disagreements.
Yeah.
It is just like, I see it this way. How do you see it? And
Right.
then convince me. Right.
right.
Okay, like it.
Make your case.
And I think that kind of ultimately, in the end, creates a better product.
Right.
100%.
It's like, make your case, and then it's, oh, I didn't look at it that way. Like, I can see where you're coming from with that. That's something I didn't think of.
This one has some good spice in the front too.
This one's fucking great. This is 60-35-5 is the mash bill on this. So it's 35% rye.
That is.
This is wild. This is 60% yellow corn, 35 rye, 5 malts of barley.
Tastes spicier than that, but I like it.
So I think, like, I know it was a big deal for Tim and I to release Rhapsody. It was our baby. It's our first bourbon blend we put out. You know, great. Then we had Thornhurst Rye, and I mean, we've had our rum, which I think is great. You know, because now now we have so many different products. It's kind of
That's the
hard.
problem, right? It's like I love Sin Nombre. I love.
That's what I was expecting
Yeah.
him to say.
I love our rum. I love our rum. Our rum is fucking great. Our rum is
You know,
like
I've
the
never-
result of like 15 years in the bar industry.
I've never had your rum.
Yeah,
Really?
you need
Are
to.
you
I've only had
serious?
Sin Nombre before.
When we're done
No.
here, let's go thief the aged rum we have. Because that'll
yes.
you want to go on a real cheap flight to Jamaica?
Yeah.
Like that's what's in
No,
barrel
it's-
right now. This shit's fucking wild.
So I was looking for a good overproof Jamaican rum because a lot of the tiki cocktails ask for that, and everyone goes, "Go Smith and Cross, go Smith and Cross,
yeah,
go Smith,
Smith and Cross is good.
Yeah, it's good.
So I was gonna get that today because I was making tiki cocktails.
Or
today.
Hamden.
Hamden?
Yeah. No. Hamden.
I've never had Hamden.
You never had Hamden? Hamden's fucking unbelievable. Worthy Park and Hamden are both probably my two favorite. It's like, so some stuff from Long Pond, I really have to be in the mood from Long Pond. Long Pond is by far the most interesting distiller they have, but Worthy Park and Hamden are, Hamden is
Oh,
like
do you remember
fucking
the aged Hamden that
unbelievable,
David
dude.
had at the?
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, he had the birds.
Was it like
series, man. It was
21-year-old?
woodpecker or whatever. It
Yeah.
was
Oh
fucking
my god, it
unbelievable.
was amazing.
Jealous. I got.
So-
I wish I was in
Hamden,
the
I'm
industry.
a massive fanboy of both Worthy Park and Hamden. Worthy Park puts out a lot of cool stuff. Hamden is like really thoughtful.
Yeah.
Really, their label and packaging is fucking brilliant. They consulted with Velier when they were doing, and it's just the brand is just on point. It's beautiful
So
estate.
I used to not be the biggest rum fan, and then Tim
I've been yelling at him for years.
turned me
Dude,
into a giant fan of agricole style rum. I can't get enough of it.
Well, we met Eric Kay, who owns Holmes Key.
Awesome guy.
And we tasted through his whole portfolio. And like after that moment, that was a turning point for Michael, where he's like, "Holy shit, I get it now."
Yeah.
And after that, like it was like floodgates open.
Rum is amazing.
And
Rum
then
is
he had this
under-
one like
undersung.
super high ester Jamaican rum, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is funky." I'm like, "Give me more."
Oh, I'm definitely down to
dope.
taste the rum that you guys have here. But you said so.
Yeah, so
Rhapsody.
Rhapsody. I mean, we have Thornhurst, which I think that rye. I was literally tasting somebody on the other day, and they're like, "Man, I don't usually like rye, but this is really good." Yeah. And it's, when we blend, and this is not coming from us. This is actually coming from people that have told us that actually work in the Scotch whiskey industry. They're like, "You don't blend bourbon like bourbon. You blend whiskey like Scotch."
Yeah.
And so we kind of like that layered, nuanced kind of changes, develops in the glass. And the rye, I think, really kind of highlights that, where if you smell it, you're like, "Ooh, yeah, that's a rye." But then you taste it and you're like, "What is going on?" You get that nice rye spice, but then it's like creamy, and then it's finished sweet. It's like this is like just developing all these really cool flavors. So, I mean, yeah, that was kind of cool. Lately, I've been a big fan of. So we have a line called Experimental.
Always experimental stuff.
And this was actually an idea that my wife was sitting at the bar, and we had this whiskey from Town Branch. Our Town Branch whiskey, bought some experimental barrels from them. This is an American single malt, and it has a ton of passion fruit in it.
Yeah.
So she's drinking this whiskey. She's like, "Wow, this is really good. If it had a little peat in it, it would be very reminiscent of Bowmore." And I was like, that's interesting. So blended up a bunch of samples. We all tried it. We picked the blend we liked. And it's this awesome, like peated, passion fruit, coconut. I mean, honestly, I believe, again, this is not my words. These are coming from people that have tried it.
Yeah.
They're like, if you put that in a blind lineup of Scotch, you would have no idea that's American single malt.
Interesting.
And that's something that we strive for, is to kind of, I think American single malt, which is why we're so in love with it, is it's so new. There's so many different styles and so many different ways that people are making it, aging it, whatnot. But I'm a huge Scotch lover.
Okay.
So when I'm blending stuff, I'm thinking and coming from more the background of Scotch, because we want to try to say, okay, well, if you're a Scotch drinker, come try something made in America. Like, this is kind of cool. Yeah. Like, so right now, I think experimental is definitely high on my list.
Okay.
Just because I think it's a unique flavor, something that I've never had in single malt, which I think is kind of exciting. But yeah, I mean, everything is.
So
I don't know. It's tough, but that's for me as far as our products, and I think Tim and I probably agree on who one of our favorite American producers.
Okay.
And that would be Heaven Hill.
Oh, I fucking love Heaven Hill. I've been to their distillery 3 times.
Love Heaven Hill.
I have so much Heaven Hill at the house. Heaven Hill is arguably
Heaven Hill is the most product most SKU out of any distillery that I have at home. Besides probably Boulder Spirits, I have a fuckload of Boulder.
Well, I was gonna say
Spirits
Heaven Hill was
products.
arguably the biggest influence on me getting into whiskey. Was I did the Flavier trial stuff, and they sent me Rittenhouse Rye, and they sent me a bunch of things, and I fell in love with Rittenhouse Rye. I fell in love with the spice.
Have you ever had the Rittenhouse 23 year?
No. This is a Rittenhouse 23 year?
It's a dead brand. It came out like 10 years ago.
Jesus. I've never seen
One of the
that.
best whiskeys I've ever
You
had.
almost
in my
don't.
Remember, I only
You
started
almost
drinking-
don't want to have it.
Because it'll never come back?
No, it'll fucking destroy you forever. Dude.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
I'm so.
I've had it.
Remember, I've only started drinking whiskeys and ryes 10 years ago.
Yeah, I've
so
had it about 5 or 6 years ago. They killed that brand. That was pre-purchase. I think that was before Heaven Hill
Fuck me.
purchased them.
Rit-
They put that out.
Well,
Yeah.
Rittenhouse is one of Heaven Hill Distillery in general. Like I've gone there so many times. I've barely found anything in there I didn't like.
Right.
Yeah.
Even Mellocorn slaps, dude.
Yeah,
Mellocorn's awesome.
Mellocorn was
JW
so
Dant,
good.
baby.
Dude, JW Dan is like.
J.W. Dant.
You want to get real? You want to get
Larson-
real talk? Dude,
Larson and
JW,
Barrel
dude,
Proof, too?
I'll fuck around.
Dude,
with
Tim and I-
JW Dan's one of my favorite things on the planet. It's
and I
$18 a bottle. It's
Destroyed a
fucking
bottle
amazing.
of J.W. Dant in Kentucky.
I bashed my head open last time I had JW Dan.
Did you
No,
really?
we were on. We were.
Oh my
we had
God.
an
Please tell me about
We had
this.
an Airbnb. We were we were staying in Kentucky doing barrel picks, and we had a. Well, it was in November, so it's like cold as shit in Kentucky, and we were at this really nice, like old Victorian house with a wraparound porch and in the bottom of a holler. And I went out. I forgot my car charger in my car, in the rental car, and everybody had gone to bed. Right? We were drinking heavy. We were spitting fireballs into the fire. It was a mess. It was just a giant mess. We had gone to Heaven Hill
So much
that
fun.
day. It was a great time.
So much fun.
Because we were in this holler all by ourselves, so we were just hollering. It was very feral.
Some of us were very loud.
Yeah, we were going very loud. Michael was extremely loud that night, and it was great because I'm usually the loud one. But I was like, oh fuck, I had like 8% on my phone. I was like, oh, my phone charger's in the car. And then, because we had driven all around Kentucky that day, so I went to go get it, and I take like 3 steps out on the patio, and it's frozen. It's like iced over.
No,
frozen.
I think
So
you
then
skipped over. So he, in his head, so we knew the front steps of this house were frozen over. So in his mind, he's thinking,
Correct, yeah, so
I
there's-
don't want to go down there because it's guaranteed I'm going to fall. So I'm not doing that. So he thinks I'm doing the smart
I'll
thing.
go at the back
I'm going to go
door.
the back way.
which is only 3 steps down in Granite because it was on the edge of a holler, right? So you're on an edge, right?
Yeah, it's like
So-
the mountains right there.
So the back door is higher elevated than the front door was, and so I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go the safe way. And so I went the back door, and I slept
hit
on
the
like
ice.
the 3rd step, and I face planted in the side of the holler, in the side of the mountain, which is all just rock. And because of God bless JW Dant, I had so much JW Dant pumping through my blood. I had almost no idea what had happened. I was fine. I went and got my charger, came back, walked very slowly, and then came back and plugged in my phone and went to go brush my teeth and turned on the light in the bathroom, and my face was just covered in blood and gravel. And I was like, oh, fuck, my wife's going to kill me.
Did you end up getting
Not
stitches or
only
anything?
that,
Oh, thank
It was
God.
all
So-
surface scrapes, so
Okay.
no deep cuts, all surface scraping.
He had family photos.
I had family photos like
No.
8 days later. Yeah.
Oh, your wife must have been pissed.
Dude, so I had lacerations all on my nose, my lip, my forehead, my eyebrow. Like, it was heavy.
Yeah, so good
And
time.
So, no, I just did like Vaseline on them for like every day, night and day. I constantly,
get his
yeah,
fucking healing.
yeah,
Our
it healed up
debauchery
good. It was
sponsored
good.
by
Yeah,
J.W.
it was good.
Dant.
It was good. Yeah.
This cautionary tale is sponsored by JW Daniels.
Yeah,
I
so
still love JW.
I still, dude, it's so good. Now we go back. We're like, you want to get another bottle? Fuck
yeah,
another
dude,
legit bottle.
all
of
day,
JW
dude.
Dant?
JW Dant's the best.
So good.
Now that the brand is actually
Dude.
picking up, we're planning on going to Kentucky again during
it's-
Bourbon Month.
Honestly, like when I go to a bar in Kentucky, that's what I order is JW Dant because you can't get it here.
Yeah, they don't sell
And
it outside of Kentucky.
and
No,
it's
I don't-
so good.
Like Evan Williams Single Barrel, they don't sell outside
Yeah.
of Kentucky.
Oh, my
It's so good.
we did the Evan Williams experience.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's my
downtown
number one
Louis-
thing to do in Louisville is
we did
go
it-
there.
Oh, yeah.
we did it. And
So much fun.
The guys saw
Sorry,
us
Old
and saw
Forester.
saw like something. I said, "Old Forester is fantastic too."
Yeah, I
fucking
know.
love
But
their-
my favorite
their-
thing is Elijah.
Yeah, but-
Oh,
Evan
19,
Williams
we can
experience.
talk about 1924.
Oh, I have it at the house right now. If I knew you guys had loved it, I would have
Oh,
brought it
it's
today.
honestly, it's one of my favorite things to come
I
out.
was
Last week it was
I was
It's
surprised
so
how
good.
fucking good it was.
Good.
I was so surprised how great it was because I was like, oh, it's gonna be all right. And I drank.
No,
I was like,
dude.
this is not something. Yeah, it was fantastic. But when we went, we got stopped by one of like the tour guides. He's like, "Hey, I liked your shirt, the Bourbon and Bullshit shirt, because me and my fiance were wearing it." He's like, "What is that?" I was like, "That's a podcast I do, blah blah." He's like, "Oh, come over here." I was like, "What the fuck is about to happen?" It felt like a back alley deal.
Yeah.
And he took us to a separate side and just started pouring samples of everything in the Evan Williams thing.
Did you go in the big oval room at the end of the tasting room? Like,
Eventually,
you
yes.
walk right-
Yeah.
That's that
Yeah.
boardroom. That's what's up, dude.
Yes.
The boardroom at the
Dude, but their tasting rooms upstairs that looks like the old like 1920s.
Yeah, they're all
Yes.
just
like, and they have the different like rooms that you do your that's super cool.
Yeah, even Old Forest, a lot of those distilleries did not let me down. I think maybe one, but I'm not going to talk about the brand, let me down. But
Ooh.
otherwise, well, because
Juicy gossip.
when you pay for an experience, you're like, oh my god, I get to bottle my own bottle. This is going to be great.
Right.
And it's like you really didn't do anything compared to what
I
like
think
anyone
I know
else
which
did.
one. We'll talk later.
Yeah, we'll
So
talk-
when are you going back up there again?
I'm hoping October, September.
All right, you have to go to a place called the Tartan House, Tartan, Tartan House.
Some might pronounce it tartan.
Tartan.
Tartan House. Which part of Kentucky?
Nulu.
Nulu.
No, it's in Louisville.
Okay.
But yeah, it's in downtown Louisville proper, but over there by like Rabbit Soul and Copper and Kings,
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Nulu district
Ooh.
and Nulu Whiskey
Yeah.
Company, like all around that area. So it's a cocktail bar, but it's in an old like 19th
yes.
century like Victorian like little
Super
townhouse.
cool.
That's
Okay.
so you're in somebody's living room, but they built
that's
a bar
dope.
in somebody's living room.
And it's beautiful.
Spare no expense. So it's the old beverage director for Willett. So the bar at Willett,
Yeah.
he was the opening beverage director for them
That's dope.
and developed their entire program. And the reason why the bar at Willett is so fabulous and well set up is what it is today is because of the purveyors of Tartan House. So he separated out from Willett and opened up his own spot. It's a gentleman by the name of Jeffrey Knott, and he is fucking brilliant and one of somebody I admire deeply. He's an incredibly talented bartender. And
Yeah, it was super cool. Last time we were there, it was right before he opened. It was like literally
before we-
weeks before he opened.
that was like 4 days.
That's
right.
right.
He goes
Yeah.
soft openings Tuesday.
That's
We were
right.
there on like
That's
Sunday
right.
or some
That's right.
shit.
And
was
so
like,
he
dude,
gave us kind of like the
sorry.
backroom tour and like showed us everything, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So next time when we go up there, you'll definitely find us there.
Fuck that, dude. He's got an Airbnb.
I was gonna say, he has an Airbnb.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wanna
gonna stay at
stay
the
there.
Airbnb that's
Yeah,
in the back. But
that's where I
they
would
use
stay.
liquid nitrogen to cool down their glassware. Like it's
There's,
all the way.
there's an Airbnb in Kentucky that's like everything's a bourbon barrel like fucking themed. So even
Right.
like your bed space is
There's a
giant
bunch of
bourbon
those,
barrel.
yeah.
I was like, this feels kind of gimmicky. I'd rather just be as close as possible to distillers as I
Right.
can. But
Yeah.
maybe once. So I'm gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna keep digging into the cocktail side now. I'm kind of curious about that and the whole process and the spirit that you liked. And I know we talked about bitters as well. So
You didn't even ask about what my favorite spirit was.
Well, we did, but then you got sidetracked.
We'll come back.
My
We'll-
favorite spirit is Patience, which isn't out yet.
Patience.
My favorite
Well,
product we've
that's-
ever made
that's
is
not
whiskey,
fair.
Is a
That's
whiskey
not-
we haven't
That's
released
that's
yet.
cheating.
This is the best.
I mean, what makes it the best?
We'll be right back.
Sponsor of Bourbon and Bullshit, Big Bang Boom Collective is Orlando's burlesque and cabaret entertainment group, comprised of Midnight Fables Cabaret, Big Bang Boom Cabaret, and Foxy's Den. Follow us on Instagram at Big Bang Boom Collective, or join our VIP email list for info on upcoming shows by visiting www.bigbangboomcollective.com.
All right, guys, we are back, and Tim is going to give us the reason for what was the name of the spirit that you said you loved the most from what your brand is?
Patience. It's not out yet.
All right, so why do you love it the most?
Well, because everything we do here has got to have an ounce of inside baseball humor to us, right? And so Patience is funny because
is funny.
because it
Massive
is.
baseball fans like that?
No,
No.
just inside baseball, right? Like the stuff that happens behind the scenes that you don't really kind of talk about. So like everything we kind of do has a hint of humor behind it. Like it has to. Most
Our
of
brainstorming sessions
yeah,
are
most of our
ridiculous.
names on everything we have make us laugh in some way, shape. Like Tree Spoon Gin, for instance, right? Tree Spoon Gin is named after the fact that when we walk this building for the first time, there's a crepe myrtle on the western side of the building, western side of the building that has a spoon embedded inside the tree. The tree has absorbed this spoon.
Oh, I need a picture of that later.
Well,
it might be gone.
Yeah, it might be gone.
There might be some
as
of
the
it
tree
still.
grows, it grows around the spoon. And so we found, I was like, oh, this is really funny. Like, oh, look at tree spoon. And originally we were going to call our vodka tree spoon vodka. And then we just switched it to our gin because it made more sense. Like, nothing that grows on. Our vodka is made out of potatoes and sugarcane. None of those are trees. It doesn't make any sense. But like juniper is a type of tree. Like, coriander grows on. And so orange zest, lemon zest, those are all trees, right? So we'll call it tree spoon gin. But then also we thought about it.
Trees.
We thought about it, and it's a small spoon, right? It's like a small little demi spoon. If you're familiar, if you worked in the industry, you know what a demi-glace spoon is. It's a tiny little teaspoon. And we're like, oh, well, and this was kind of not a great part of town before we started doing demo and turned the lights on in the building. It was really dark here, so, quite a bit of vagrants were around the area. We're like, oh, well, this is someone's heroin spoon that they put in the tree and never came back for, which means they probably died that night. So somebody left their heroin kit here, like, I'm going to be right back. And they weren't. They never were.
Never
returned. And the tree took the spoon. This had to happen like 8 years ago or something like that. They took the spoon. We're like, hey, we should name a gin after that moment. That's...
Yeah, we're going to commemorate this moment.
We should commemorate this moment of this heroin addict spoon in this tree after
that's
our
how Tree Spoon
gin.
Gin was born.
That's actually crazy.
So patience is funny because Michael and I have absolutely no patience, which is why we started a whiskey blending company. We're not going to wait 6, 7, 8 years, for our whiskey to mature, right? If we're proper distillers, which we're not. So patience is a funny name. Because it's like this is the longest we've ever waited to release anything. We blended it a year and a half ago, and it'll be coming out this October. But we hired Leviathan Artworks to recreate a 14th century German Gothic artist's work that's entitled Patience. It's
so basically,
go to the Wikipedia.
Yeah. So what happened is somebody was here, and Tim was like, "Oh yeah, their name is Patience," and I said, nobody's name is Patience, and joking, and he goes, yeah. So he starts Googling Patience.
So that'll be the label.
And finds this artwork and shows it to me, and I'm like, that's cool.
I'm like,
That
bro,
is
this will make a good fucking whiskey label.
I was like, I bet you Leviathan, like Robert could do this in like his style, and we could make that the label. And he was like, "That's cool." So so we reached out
diehard
to
loyalist
him
of a company here called Leviathan Artworks that does like more gothic, tarot-y, skeleton themed artwork. And I met him at a metal show a year and a half before we opened, wearing one of his shirts, and so he does our skeleton shirt that's out there. And he does now all of our t-shirt printing.
So
for
we
us.
license his Krampus artwork for our bottle.
Right.
Yeah, I was about to bring up that.
Yeah,
I was
he
like,
does
I've seen a lot of
Krampus,
your
and
dope
so
labels.
Patience is his
Even
first
Sin Nombre, did he have a hand in the Sin Nombre label?
No, that's a Mexican artist that we hired off of the interwebs. We found him on the internet. He's out of Mexico.
But you guys have very cool looking labels and everything else. The way you produce it, you can tell there's a more of a personal touch and everything.
Yeah, actually, my cousin designed a few. She did the rum
Gin
and the
and
gin.
gin.
She's like
Textile designer here locally.
Yeah. And so kind of crafted up some concept art for her.
And experimental. She did
and
experimental.
experimental.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's awesome. So she does a lot of like digital painting. So she'll literally take like an iPad pen and draw it out and kind of design labels, and then we go back and forth, and she comes up with some incredible stuff.
Okay. Well, all right. So Patience is your favorite brand.
So that's a blend of peated whiskey from Boulder Spirits, Journeyman, and Brooklyn out of New York. It's 6 to 11 years old. Predominantly 6 years old. Only 5% of the whiskey's 11. But the Brooklyn 11-year-old single malt is so robust. It is like
A little goes a long way.
it's like putting saffron in a dish, right? It is just like a touch.
And that's what we use their whiskey for. It's so good on its own, but man, does it enhance flavors.
Right, it was a real popper. Like it's like MSG into a blend. It really does make everything a lot better with no
Regardless of
with
what
no
you
side
think of
effects.
MSG,
No side effects. We love MSG.
We love MSG. I actually have a little sticker that says "I love MSG."
Yeah, from Red Panda.
Yes,
Noodle
exactly.
Company? Yeah, Red
Exactly.
Panda's the shit. They were here on Thursday. They're
I love
fucking.
Red
They're
Panda.
fucking
They're
awesome.
my favorite food truck.
Yeah, you guys. That's the other thing I'm gonna dig into it a little bit more about what you guys do as events and the food truck partnerships and everything that you've done. But so this one that you just poured, because I just want to make sure, Tim, you said Heaven Hill is the brand that you love outside of your own, right?
Right. I think so. I agree on that. Heaven Hill's like DSP Kentucky #1, baby. Come on, let's fucking go.
Heaven Hill is fucking so good.
It's the first DSP post Prohibition.
The Bottle and Bond Act and everything. I had this whole bit segment about it where there's a part of the show that we do something called Shit You Should Know for all the casual people who are learning about whiskey, and talking about how Bottle and Bond was the first food safety act in the United States, and it was all because of alcohol, not necessarily, hey, we care about what food you eat. It's no, we want to make sure whiskey's not fucking turpentine and fucking tobacco spit.
Right.
And
Yeah,
the
exactly.
the brand I brought up was the Bottle and Bond from Heaven and Hill, so definitely aligned with that, with you guys. But
I mean, Old Forester really is the one that you should highlight when it comes to something, because they were the only one that was. Old Forester's the only brand that survived. It's the only brand that survived Prohibition.
I mean, they're the reason why we have...
It's
Yes.
Setzer Weller and Old Forester, but Setzer Weller died out in the 90s, so you've got Old Forester.
Yeah, because they were the first bottle to have a tax strip on it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
First
So
bottle.
we're actually
First bottled whiskey
yes
in the United States.
So Old Forester actually is the bottle that we love Old Forester so much that it's the bottle that we opened when we got engaged, me and my fiance.
Oh, nice.
Right.
We've gone to their tour multiple times. I have birthday bourbon in 3 different years. It is my go-to 1924.
Yeah.
Everything is in there, but I feel like that deserves an episode on its own, like a whole just
I agree.
talking about the history about there. And in
All right, let us know when you're ready. Let's get down.
I'm 100% down. Part of this.
I am the master blender for, I don't know why I sound like JFK from
Yeah,
The
I was
Simpsons.
what happened there?
I am the master blender from Old Forester, from Brown Foreman Spirits.
Wait,
I sound like
just-
Mayor Quimby from The Simpsons.
Holy shit, that is Mayor Quimby. I was like, who is that person?
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Simpsons lately.
Is that the show? Is that your go-to nostalgic show?
The old seasons are, yeah. Although we just did a radio show a couple days ago, and the guy reminded me of the X-Files. He's like, I'm watching every fucking episode. I'm
What
like,
radio show?
That's a good call. The Bungalow in the Bus.
Bungalow in the Bus with-
on Real Radio.
Yes, I actually know them.
Brendan and John.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're awesome. They're like friends and family here.
When we
so
did when I was doing Full Frontal Nerdy, they both have been on that show.
they're great.
As guests, they would fucking.
Brendan's a fucking wild one, dude.
Oh,
You got
God,
you
he's
got
so
you
funny.
got to
I love
mic
Brendan.
dump him so many times because he'll
So
pop off and say
funny.
some crazy shit. I love Brendan. Dude.
I'm gonna ask Mike, what's your nostalgic TV show or show of this, since he's The Simpsons?
So I don't know if it's not nostalgic because it's not that old, but I'm a massive Bob's Burgers fan.
That is my show. Bob's Burgers. John B. Benjamin.
Oh my God. I literally watched him.
yet?
Yes, that
did you
movie
see
was
it?
so good. Yeah,
Was it good? I haven't seen it yet.
So I'm gonna tell you right now, the movie, you go into it thinking it's gonna be kind of funny. It is spoofy enough, but the fight scenes are damn near on par with every John Wick. The fact that you kind of
Skarsgård, dude. You can't go wrong with Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
There's a Skarsgård-assance that's happening right now. I don't know if
I
you
love
know
that. They're all in something. Every one of them is doing
all
something.
fucking crushing it
And
right
they're,
now.
yeah, they're excelling at every fucking thing.
But
they
Bill's
do.
the man, dude. He's Nosferatu. He's
Yes.
fucking Taekwondo expert. He's it.
So you can tell that
Jesus.
those are he knows how to fight. You know for a fact that he
crazy.
didn't just all right, tag in the stunt double and walk away from everything.
Yeah.
He looks like the type of person who can handle himself in a fight. But the movie's actually really fun, entertaining. We actually watched it and were pleasantly surprised because you expect, it's going to be goofy, might not be some slapstick type of nonsense. We're going to watch it for fun. I actually enjoyed it.
I'm really pumped up on Long Legs. I
Oh.
want to go see it.
Nicolas Cage?
So I'm pumped up. So I'm actually I got a hopper. I got a hopper full of movies I want to see.
Long Legs, Nosferatu.
Twisters. I'm talking about summer blockbuster movies that I want to see right now. So Nosferatu. So yeah, our it's not Ari Aster. It's shit.
Did you already finish it? What? I didn't even drink it.
Oh, I'm done. I'm ready for 85. Are we ready for 85?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to be ready
Yes.
for 85.
No, but I'm so pumped up on Twisters for some reason. I think it's going to be fucking awesome. I don't know
Gonna be
why.
such a
dude.
letdown.
That's what I was worried about. I was like, I'm hopeful, but who knows?
Dude, I don't know, man. I like Glenn Powell. I think Glenn Powell fucking rules. I think Glenn Powell does a good job. He was great in Maverick. He was great in Top Gun Maverick. His
Oh.
stupid rom-com that he came out with Sydney Sweeney was great.
He's been popping up
was-
everywhere.
it was-
He had that movie Hitman on Netflix.
Hitman just came out. I haven't seen
It
it.
was actually pretty good. It was based on a real story.
There we go. Look at Glenn. Dude,
He's the new it guy right now.
there's a Bill Skarsgård-sance happening, and there's a Palasance happening right now.
Wow.
Palisades. I like that.
Let's talk about that one.
This one?
That's what. Yeah, this one's.
We'll talk about this one.
This is rich.
You guys can start. Michael, go ahead. Start. This one.
Man, there's a lot of
I don't know.
there's
This
a lot
one.
Of there's a lot of aged corn on this
Yeah.
one. This is really nice. This is
It's
like,
super rich.
You know what?
Yeah,
in
yeah,
a good way. It reminds me of that Texas corn whiskey that we got. In a good way.
Which one is this one?
That Twizzler popcorn.
I don't know. There's anything good about that.
Tim,
No, but there's we got samples from a corn whiskey out of Texas from a distillery. We didn't work
I
with.
think it's back
but,
there.
It's 9-year-old corn whiskey out of Texas. And
So we were
love-
excited.
We love corn whiskey.
Yeah,
That is.
yeah. That's kind of wild. That's
That back end is kind of sweet. Oh,
so. It's weird. Is like, it's got this nice spice in your palate. The finish is a little bit weak on this one,
Oh wow.
but it has. Yeah, it pops a flavor and then it dissipates quickly.
Yeah, but the alcohol burn on this is
Yes,
almost
but it
non-existent.
sits right in your cheeks.
There's no alcohol burn.
Yeah, that's almost.
I tried it a second time.
So this is 110.3 proof.
Yeah,
Which
not wild.
Does this have a name to it yet, or is this?
No, this is just a
No, these are
an
just all
allocated
allocated.
pool.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I
this
do want to
is-
talk to you guys
it's kinda
about
cool.
a little bit about your cocktail bar and everything else that you do here that's outside of this. Because,
Okay.
Just because I think it should be
I'm gonna
highlighted.
talk some coctology, right?
I was gonna say Tim has a special word for what we call our bartenders.
Yeah, coctologists, dude. They're coctologists. Coctologists. Why are they called bartenders, dude?
Oh, that's
Not-
fair. Not even mixologist, just coctologist.
Yeah,
Coctologist.
coctologist, dude. Well, so like mixologist was I've been called a mixologist my entire life, and it is very offensive to me. I fucking hate that word.
Okay, why?
Because I'm a fucking bartender, dude. Bartending. You want to talk like the founding of American bartending, which we created bartending, we created stand up.
Yeah.
Right? Like we create a lot of different unique art forms that the world recognizes.
Yeah.
And bartending back in the day in late 1700s, early 1800s was taken extremely seriously. The bartenders, like, they had to go find fucking ice for you, man. Like they had to go out and they had to find citrus for you. They had to make, you were talking about a pineapple gum syrup. That shit's 200 years old, man.
Mm-hmm.
They've been making pineapple gum syrup for over 220 years in this country, and the recipes are in a book from the 1840s if you want to look it up. I mean, that was the bartending that I did. When this term, this social media driven term mixology came about, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, I'm a bartender. Like, and yeah, you make unique drinks, and there's a lot of nuance to it. But I hated the term corporate mixology. I hated it. I hated it so much, and I didn't know anybody else in the industry that liked it. And so,
Like most true bartenders do not like that word.
I've never met anybody. I've never met anybody that I enjoyed being around that was like, I am a fucking mixologist, bro.
Other than those Instagrammers that are just doing stuff for the gram and shit.
I don't know those people, right? And I'm sure they're nice people. But in my personal life and experience, I've never met someone in person, whether it's going to Tales every year or whatnot, that is like, yeah, I'm a mixologist, or introduce themselves as that. They do that because that's what normies call us, right?
Yeah.
But we're fucking bartenders, man. We give a shit about what we're doing, and there's no shame in calling myself a bartender.
I actually like that. I'm glad you said that out loud because I think I see exactly your point.
So
Where it's almost like shitting on the bartender and
Right.
like, oh, we're gonna elevate it now because I'm above a bartender. I call
Elevate.
myself a mixologist and almost shitting on the bartender, even though
Elevate, right?
Elevate.
So elevate is
most
such a
overused
fucking
word.
stupid
I
term.
I hate it.
And now,
it
so
gentrified it.
and anybody who's still listening,
Elevate.
we've had 5 cash drink bourbons, so it was.
This is the fun part. This is where we get- when
F-bombs
we
are
get into part
dropping
two.
now.
Yeah.
I didn't hear this on Billy's podcast, so I'm
Oh,
just.
you did in part two.
I didn't. listen to part
So,
two, okay.
so my show is designed to. By the time we get to part two, we've been drinking, except for Michael, because he has to be the
Yeah,
responsible
Michael's
one.
spitting. I'm not. Let's go.
If Michael drinks right now, I'm going to be fast asleep.
That's what espresso and Celsius is for.
You can have a whole
Actually, I
lot
don't
of
fuck. I don't
Celsius
fuck
if
with
you
the
start-
Celsius. I don't fuck with Celsius.
I do
I
either.
just
I do
figured. I
espresso.
just figured out there's human piss in Celsius. That's
Oh my God! Stop it.
That's
Is that another
crazy.
one of those mystery bottles
Yes,
here?
it's one of those things that's going around the internet that's so not true.
I think it is true. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's a
there's- yep.
I think it is a byproduct. I think it is a thing. I think it is true. I think it's a thing.
Like the chemical equivalent of urine is what you're saying, or like
No, it's a
literally is
byproduct
out of
from
vat,
it's a byproduct for waste. So like, all right, what we cook our French fries in, that's machine oil.
yeah.
We were never supposed to eat the amount of.
That's
We
also
were never
not
supposed
true.
to eat the amount. Of,
Don't get them on seed oil, all right?
yeah, don't get me on seed oils, dude. I'll go down a fucking rabbit hole.
So
on
we'll
seed
bring it back
oils.
to the bartender thing. We'll bring it
Yeah,
back-
yeah.
So you're saying that you don't like the term mixologist and you don't like that, but so you're cocktenders.
So, well, no, not cock tenders. That's
Okay,
a totally different
that's-
career.
that's different.
That's a
So what's
prostitute.
the difference between? Yeah.
Coctologist.
Coctologist. So we thought it'd be. So I don't know. I thought it's just funny. There's cocktails and there's mixologists. I'm like, well, if so, like, you know, somebody one day was like, oh, you have really good, you have good mixologists, because you can't say we have some of the best bartenders in town, because like people's perception outside of the industry is like a bartender is a bartender. A mixologist really makes stuff great, but it's like if you hire bartenders that really are passionate and give a shit about what they're doing, they're the same thing. They're the
I fucking
same
love that.
person. They just don't have this foo-foo title that you've associated with them. So out of a joking manner, I was like, yeah, well, we have coctologists here. So they're just, yeah. And Samir gets so mad when I call him a coctologist. It's very, very funny to me, though.
So we always call him.
So we always call him a coctologist, because he's like, that's incredibly crazy that you call me that. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's hilarious. Thank you.
So you rather bartender than coctologist, or is he?
No. We're bartenders here, right? Okay. So like we're bartenders, but like I hate the term mixologist so much. I want it to die and go away forever, and I want just people to be okay with like there's good bartenders and bad bartenders. There's good chefs and bad chefs.
Yeah.
You can be a chef that works at a family-owned restaurant and makes like old school style Italian food, and it's great, and it's in a little dive in the middle of the Upper West Side or some shit like that in New York, and they're not making their pasta by hand or anything. They're doing things the way their dads did back in the 70s and 80s and everything, and they're just trying to keep tradition. And then you have people that work at the French Laundry. They're not the same thing, but they're both chefs. Mm-hmm. You're not calling one a chef and one not a chef. Like, they're both chefs. So it's just different degrees of dedication to really pushing envelopes and people that are based in traditions. Like, if you want to go to a dive bar and get a shot and a beer, there are 100 fantastic bartenders in this town that will really that don't give a shit about making the best old fashioned. What they care about is making sure that you feel that you're comfortable and you're right at home, and you're gonna come back a couple times a week and not just once a week or once a month. You're like, you can associate with this, that. So we've taken that aesthetic, that mindset of our with our employees that we have here, or with our team members that we have here, when it comes to the experience that they get. And it's like how Michael opened up the podcast talking about, we want people to feel like this is their neighborhood bar. So I'm not ashamed to make you want a mojito? We'll make a fucking mojito.
Yeah.
The best goddamn mojito you've ever had. It'll take 4 minutes, but it'll be really good. That's why it's a secret menu item. It's not on the menu, but we make very good mojitos here.
Definitely come here when Samir is working and ask him for a mojito.
Oh, so Samir makes the best mojitos in all of Orlando.
Samir's here, you want a mojito.
Yeah, I want.
He's that good at it.
Oh,
or does he get pissed off?
He does everything Cuban
little
style.
column A, little column B, and it's hilarious.
Little A, little column A, little column B. It is funny, but we do Cuban style mojitos here. Like, we don't. So Cuban style mojitos take time.
Yeah.
It takes like, if you're doing it right and fast, it takes like 1.5 to 2 minutes to make a Cuban. If you're doing it
Cuban
like,
style.
yeah. So Cuban style is, you don't bruise the mint. That's Cuban style.
Yeah.
You do not tear the mint. You massage the mint. Mm-hmm. Cuban style is, if you tear the mint, you fucking ruined it. Mm-hmm. Get out of here.
Get the fuck up. Oh, door's opening.
Oh, we have a visitor.
Oh,
hey, look, it's Samir. Hey,
Samir, who we're talking about. Samir makes the best fucking mojitos in Orlando, everybody.
Yeah, this is happening in real time. We're apparently... Samir, no, come back here. Come back. We need to talk to you about your process. So real time, Samir just walks in and he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, oh no, you're exactly who we wanted to be.
you're
Right
good.
on cue.
Right on cue.
Hour 2 coming in.
But I do love the fact that apparently I have to come back when Samir's here for mojitos. Mm-hmm. And apparently order for the whole table.
This is
Is
a
that what
25-minute segment
everyone,
about your
yeah.
mojitos on the podcast. It's
Yeah.
great.
Do you want to say hi, Samir? Say hi to Mike.
Hi, how we doing?
Good, good. Tell us about the mojito process for you and how much you love it. I've never seen someone look at me with such distaste and like a smile. Like,
Wasn't that fun?
that was great. But I do think, oh, he's back.
He's back.
Hi, Samir. So you want to tell us about mojitos? And you know what? I'm asking you 2 questions. What's your least favorite cocktail to make? And what's your signature, the best thing you make? In the microphone, not just in general.
Fair enough. Right now, I would say, no. I mean, I don't really have a cocktail I dislike making. It's
Ever?
not
Not even
really.
like the
I
gin
know
fizz
a
or
lot of
nothing?
Lies.
I mean, yeah,
The gin fizz
fizzes
is
definitely suck. It's a good thing we don't have
We don't
anything
have
like
eggs
that.
here we don't make room.
Yeah.
Yeah, those shits. Robert gin fizz.
What was it? I used to work at Domu around the corner. We used to have a fizz on the menu, and that one killed me every once in a while. That was rough, but for the most part, I don't mind. It's like it's part of the job. You got to make a decent drink.
And your
So
mojito's signature.
I guess so. That's kind of become a running joke, but yes.
I mean, if you're making a good quality mojito, that's
I
on
make a
your
good
on you.
mojito.
Make a worse mojito.
He really does. It's very good.
it's a joke, but yes, it
Make
is.
a worse mojito. Maybe they won't.
I couldn't do that. Though.
Stop talking.
Fucking right.
I
Obviously.
wouldn't-
You would
I
have him
can't
on
actually do
staff
it.
if he would be willing to put out subpar product.
No.
But Samir, awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that because I swear to God, you were literally the top of conversation when you walked in this room. So before I leave, I will be seeing you.
Fair enough. I'll have one ready. No worries.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course.
It's nice talking to you. Cheers, man. And good luck out there. Seems
Thank
like
you,
guys are pumping.
Samir.
Thank you, Samir.
I guess my ears were burning, huh?
Yeah.
That's like perfect. So like perfect segue into, just our general bar philosophy here. It's like because we're a tasting room. This isn't a bar, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't have a liquor license. We have our tasting room license, which enables us to make beverages for people. But what our goal is to deliver an experience for guests that come here where this is like, oh, this is the best version of this drink that I've ever had. Yeah. That's our goal. Don't think, it's hard to be like, this is the best old fashioned. I've heard that from guests that have come here. I don't know. I don't know if it is. I mean, we're trying to do that. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the best espresso martini with our vodka that you've ever had in the coffee that we have from Eola Coffee Company, and that's ground and pressed to order. And we put a pinch of sea salt in it because that balances it out and breaks down the tannins in the coffee. And we're acid correcting juices here to make the beverages a little bit more balanced, a little bit more nuanced, and.
A lot of time, energy, and effort
Yeah, there's a lot of R&D that goes into it. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into it. There's it's a lot, but again, at the same time, it's like, Michael and I have put out this year. We've put out 4 products, and we've got 5 more products coming out by the end of the year. So that's 9 for this year. Next year is probably going to be closer to 12. That is a lot.
I'm excited for you guys. You guys are doing really well.
I'm excited for us, man. This is really a labor of love, and Michael and I are here almost every day. So if you come into the tasting room, you can usually catch one of us, unless.
I don't think I've ever walked in and not seen one of you, at least. If not,
Yeah,
both
we
of
try
you.
to. It's always,
Especially this time of year right now. Like we're usually here, but man, March through May. Oh man, that's brutal. There's just so many events going on, and usually Tim and I have to kind of split duties.
Yeah,
just
March through
do
May
everything.
is tough. Yeah, again, like because we don't hire promo teams.
Yeah.
I won't say promo girls. I'll say promo teams.
Promo team.
Promo teams.
Promo teams.
There's some promo.
2024.
There's some promo bros out
Yeah,
there.
it's promo bros.
Dude, Promo Bros is a good name for a business. We should open
It's terrible.
It's a terrible name.
Promo bros might get you the wrong kind of clicks.
I want you to think of like college hunks hauling junk. You remember that
Yeah,
company?
yeah.
That
They
company's
still
still around.
exist.
Still
They do
exists. Still,
great.
they do very well.
They're highly rated on Yelp and Google.
Bottle Bros.
Bottle bros. On that, we're going to take, guys, we're going to conclude part 1 of this. Make sure that you stay tuned for next week. We're going to bring back, we're going to finish up the conversation. Obviously, this is happening in real time, so you're not going to necessarily hear all this, but we're going to be part 2. We're going to dig a little bit deeper into the history of everything Tim and Michael have been putting together.
All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Burn Termite and Pest Control. I first met Joe Byrne on Full Frontal Nerdity Show and decided to give his company a try. They have been the best pest service I've ever had. From flexible scheduling, attention to detail, fair pricing, and everything you love about a small business, I highly recommend Joe Byrne and Byrne Termite and Pest Control. It's a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience in termite and pest. You can reach Byrne Termite and Pest Control at 321-297-7985. Once again, 321-297-7985. And let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. See you next time.